Welcome to Success in Motion. Join us as we dive deep with top leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals, uncovering strategies to grow, scale, and succeed.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Success in Motion podcast. This is your host, Michael Bishop, here with Doug Bynum. Doug here is a Air Force retiree to government employee to Medicare Basic Training consultant. He's been doing that for quite a while now. Doug, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I always tell people Air Force retiree, and I did 26 years active duty in the military. So if you take out your calculator and you go 26 years, and then I always tell people this part I kind of leave out. I did 2 years outside the gate, didn't like it, so I went back into the government and became a housing manager for 9 years, which was great. I did dormitories, family housing for our military. And then I did another 11 years as a quality assurance provider, which no one ever thinks about it, but I inspected runways, power stations. So I had quite an experience with the government. And then I retired again, and I go, okay. My wife told me, she goes, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "Well, I don't know." So I got involved, and one of my friends said, "Hey, would you like to help me with Medicare?" I go, "No." And then I took the test, and I found out how hard it was. And it really got my interest up of trying to figure out how can people navigate this crazy government program. And that's how I got involved in becoming a consultant.
Doug, you're a consultant in Medicare Basic Training. That's the company that you work for. Help me understand exactly what it is that is. How did you come up with that? You said that your friend told you about it, and you were like, "No, I'm not going to do it." But then you circle back around, and you find a way. You found a way to make it happen, and it sounds like you're thriving in that industry. What exactly is Medicare Basic Training, and how are you blessing the lives of vets around the world?
All right. So what happened was, uh, agents are a dime a dozen. You can become an agent with any kind of company. The company I'm actually licensed through is Health Markets, which is a national company. And like I said, anyone can become an agent. I was looking for something that made me stand apart from other folks. And we were doing a class in our local church, and it was called Band of Brothers. And if you've ever saw the TV show, The Band of Brothers, the military World War II, for 101st Airborne, they had a thing going on. And so we were doing this training with our men called Basic Training for Men. It was helping them become better husbands, better sons, better fathers. And at the same time, I was playing around with an idea of writing a book called Basic Training, and it all kind of came together because I was taking all these online courses. Everybody loves podcasts. If you don't like podcasts, then you're just not right. And there's a couple of podcasts out there that one was called Medicare 101, another one called Medicare University. And then all of a sudden it hit me, why not Medicare Basic Training? So what happened is I said, this is a great idea. So I went into the current state I was in, and I put in to find out Medicare Basic Training LLC existed, and it didn't. So I counted that as a God wink. So then I checked to see if the email existed, and my email is ldbynum at medicarebasictraining.com. I go, wow, got that. Then I found out that Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, everything existed. So I basically did that. So I said, all right, this is going to be, and if you look at my logo, there's a wolf in the middle of it. And my first name is Lowell, and Lowell is French for young wolf. And in the military, we use the wolf a lot for the wolf pack and different organizations. So this was all coming about. And then as I did my training, I found out there's more and more programs that actually benefit veterans. And being a veteran, I wanted to really go after veterans to help them learn how Medicare works with VA benefits, TRICARE for life, and all the things that affect veterans. Yes, I can take care of civilians too that are non-military, but my love for veterans, being a veteran, is really what drove this. And I took it a step farther. I said, well, you know what? I got this logo. So I went and I registered with the US government, got my letter on 6 May. Took a year for the government to make a decision, but now I own the words Medicare Basic Training and the logo. Actually hired a lawyer who was able to make this logo that is on my shirt uh, a license, and now I own it nationwide. So the dream is to take this nationwide, all 50 states, and for me to work with other veterans to make them an agent in every state and be able to reach out and help them and educate them on how Medicare works.
That's really cool and quite an ambitious goal that you have. I think it's cool that you've reinvented yourself several times over the years. So there's a lot of competition, as you mentioned, in the Medicaid, Medicare space. There's also a lot of competition in the consulting space in general. What is it that comes easy to you that others find challenging in this industry?
All right. Well, first of all, there's 8.1 million veterans that are 65 or older. So everybody goes, only 8 million. I said, well, yeah, I only want to have 1% of that. But you got to think about that the 8.1 million also are married or have a spouse. Many of them, if depending on they may have parents, brothers and sisters. So this number starts growing into 10 to 20 million people that I personally could reach out and touch. Now, if you've never dealt with a veteran, veterans can be real, what's a nice word for it? Kind of a pain in the butt. They don't believe anything. They walk in with their arms crossed, going, "Bull, you're full of crap." And I have to win them over. And I love that because I said, "Well, let me show you what I can do for you." And they go, "Well, do you get paid for this?" I go, "Not from you." Yes, I do make money when I enroll somebody in a Medicare program, but I go farther than that. Matter of fact, today I've got a list of about 20 different organizations that are local, and I'm working on this list to make this hundreds of different places I can send people for help. Like, I had a young man call me and he goes, so I know you do Medicare, but I'm not on enough Medicare. But my mom told me to call you because you said you know everybody. I said, what's going on? It was 30 April. He had lost his job. He got an eviction notice and he was going to lose his home on the 1st of May. I said, all right. So I hooked him up with my out of my book of magic and got him into an organization and they wrote a check and paid his rent for the month. Uh, just things like that. Knowing where to send somebody for help. If I do a Medicare plan with them, great. If I don't, as long as I get to know them and be able to help them, that's what really counts.
That's really cool. A lot of people in the consultant arena, they get hung up on the what's in it for me, and they forget that consultants are really to help others. I really like it that you have not just the Medicare that you help with, but you have a whole array of direction you can send people to get them the help that you need. So you become the one-stop shop for a myriad of solutions for veterans. And I think that the veterans in this country don't get enough support. They don't get enough direction when they come home, um, or when they get to that retirement age. There's a lot of resources out there, but I don't feel like many of them know how to access it or who to turn to. So I think it's pretty cool that you're putting that together. I think it's going to really set you apart in that space by becoming that resource for all of them. Um, so if somebody wanted to do what you're doing or get into involved with veterans or in the Medicaid sphere, what would you recommend they do to get started?
I mean, I think the first thing is seriously reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. I'm sure you're gonna put my phone number up in a few moments, and my email is easy. But I always tell people I would love to talk to you. Matter of fact, I will try to talk you out of it probably because it can be so overwhelming. And if you just don't really love people, and if you okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Uh, Non-military. I'm helping them, and they had a $619 copay for medications, and they had to make a decision between medicine or food. And I said, well, hang on. I've got three different resources I can send you to that will actually help pay for your medications. So they didn't even know that existed. So that is if you don't like solving problems, then don't do this. And because life is about solving problems. So bring me your problem. And I've had to tell people, I have no idea. But give me enough time here and I will figure it out, or I'll get you to somebody who's an expert in that field. So that is really the key to being a consultant. Uh, and to kind of backtrack, mostly if you have a military person out there listening, I was in the Air Force, and the Air Force, Army, and Marines have a rank that is called the first sergeant. I'm not really sure what the Navy calls. We never have figured out the Navy part yet, but it has a diamond, and the diamond goes in the middle of their rank, and it tells everyone that this person knows. I always tell people it's a piece of coal that has been pressured under such pressure that turns into a diamond. And what we do is our job is to help the enlisted people. We also help the officers. So that is really where this probably came from, is from years of helping people figure out how to solve a problem. And back in the military days, totally different problem. So now it's kind of almost being a financial advisor in some way. And again, there's no cost. It's free. So why someone wouldn't reach out to say, hey, can you at least answer some of my questions? Uh, I spent, I just spent about 2 months with a couple that went to somebody else to get their coverage, and that's fine. As long as they found what they really wanted, but I mean, I educated them. No hard feelings. I told them, hey, if I can ever help you, reach back out.
That's great. Having that mindset of it doesn't matter the end result. I'm going to do my best to help you. It really does. People can see past that. It takes the salesman out of you. It takes that sting, the nasty S word, salesman. People don't like to deal with salesmen. But everybody loves to be helped. And when you have that attitude and that mindset of I'm going to help you, it doesn't matter what you're doing because they feel important, they feel supported, and they feel like you're just there to help them. And if they end up using your product, that's great. But if not, at the end of the day, you know that you provided value to them and you were able to bless their life. That's pretty cool. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen in your career?
Oh, well, in this career here, the biggest challenge is the amount of information. The government loves to make changes, and so uh, the hardest part, and it's really amazing. You know that people trust you because when you start dealing with healthcare, in this case, Medicare, uh, I start fact finding. I mean, some of it's simple, your name, your date of birth, and next thing you know, you're getting down the point. At some point, you may need to get checking information and sometimes a social security, and it's like, whoa. So now you've got a relationship going on. Yes, I have to take coverage for that covers somebody if I make a mistake. And I'm very honest with them. It's like, all right, we're going to take our time on this one. And I like to do it either in person or with a Zoom because that way I can pull up and show them on the computer. All right, here are three or four different options and trying to figure out what's best for them. Like when you start working with Medicare, and this is something a lot of people don't know. you're such a young guy. It's going to be years before you get to that point. But when you do Medicare, it only covers 80% of your medical needs, and you're on the hook for 20%. Well, if you had something seriously happen where you had $100,000 bill, if you don't have $20,000 in your pocket, what are you going to do? So we look at those things, these programs that cut that back, and then I say, all right, so are you financially able to come up with $10,000? If they're not able to come with us, all right, let me show you some other options. And I even talk to them, I get to the point where I start talking about their budget. I said, do you have a budget? Let me send you a free app that I use that does but has nothing to do with me whatsoever. Matter of fact, I don't want to plug in. I'll probably get in trouble if I say it, but his name starts with Dave, and he's just such a Rams guy. But anyway, he has a free app that you can use that you can do your budget dime by dime, every dollar for dollar. You know exactly where it goes. And then we'll also get. I said, well, do you have? How's your family history? Do you have cancer? Do you have a heart attack? Do you have stroke? If you have a large amount of folks in your household that have medical problems, I go, well, maybe you really should look at getting some extra coverage with cancer, heart attack, stroke, and and then I show it to them. If they're interested, great. If they're not interested, but I have got to the point now where I send an email and I say, all right, Michael, um, I want you to send me back that you decline this. And they go, why do I need to decline this? I said, because I don't want your wife, your mother, your father, or somebody calling me later on and go, hey, could he have got coverage? And that is a sad conversation to have with somebody when I could have helped them and I didn't.
Yeah, that's a good way to help people see the importance of what you're offering. And they have to not just ignore it, but they actually have to decide, no, I do not want this. It really puts a different mind shift on what they're actually doing.
Right.
Um, because a lot of people think that if they don't make a decision on something, that they are not making that decision, but really they are making the decision. They're just not taking responsibility and ownership of that decision. And so you're kind of forcing them to take ownership of that decision, which is a pretty cool concept. Um, so when when you're working with people, it sounds like you're more than just Medicare. Sounds
Oh,
like you,
I'm much bigger than Medicare, but that's really I keep saying that's my goal, that's where I'm going, but all this other stuff keeps coming in and I just have to just do it.
yeah, it sounds like Medicare is your marketing vehicle, but the real purpose behind what you do is just providing the help that this veteran needs. What are some of the other things that you've helped outside of Medicare, outside of the Dave stuff, that you've helped some of these guys with?
Well, for example, a lot of people don't know this one. If a lot of people in the military, they get hearing loss, they get themselves, backs get hurt, and there's disabilities that you get. So I'll have a veteran come in and he goes, "Well, I have zero disabilities." That's all right. I want you to go and talk to this person. And I have, depending on where they are, I have three or four different organizations between I'm a lifetime member of the Disabled Veterans. I'm a lifetime member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'm a lifetime member of the American Legion. And all those have they call VCOs. It's terrible. I can't remember what VCO stands for, but it's to help you get your benefits. And I said, well, just go in and talk to them. Just go talk to them. And then they'll come back and go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I had all these different things going on in my life. And they may get a 50% disability. Well, that 50% disability will actually pay them every month a certain dollar amount, but it also makes them eligible for more benefits when they go to the VA. If you're, for example, if you're 70% disabled, which means you may not even know the person's disabled, they can actually be able to go to the the retirement facility just for veterans. If you've ever heard of people talking about the veterans homes, well, those homes, if you're 70% or more, you're guaranteed a spot. And what's great about that is I tell everybody, get a pre-approved because you can actually be pre-approved. Like I'm pre-approved. Hopefully I will never need it, but if someday all of a sudden I get dementia and I don't know what to do, my family has a place to send me that costs nothing for them. It's a veteran benefit. So little things like that, and they don't even know these things exist. So today, this morning, I was at a briefing. We had 10 briefers. I came back with a whole bunch of new benefits, everything from daycare. And it sounds terrible to say daycare, but the daycare is for someplace for the veteran to go and play cards, play dominoes, make pottery, get out and talk to somebody, keep their brain active. So I look for those things and then share those with the veterans and even non-veterans too. But like I said, most of them are toward veterans, but I really can help anyone. I'm working with a couple 26 years old right now, trying to get them life insurance.
That's pretty cool how you're able to pull all of the different aspects of just helping people, especially veterans, and getting them the resources that they need that uh, are sitting there waiting to be used, but most of them just don't know about it. And you're able to connect those dots, connect those pieces, and get people, especially veterans, the resources that they need. So, shifting gears here a little bit, um, there's a big topic going around um, about work-life balance. Everybody's worried about, am I working too much? Am I spending enough time with my family? Am I get enough me time? What is your what is your interpretation of work-life balance? And does that even exist or is it needed?
Oh, it's still needed a lot because my wife, she goes, don't volunteer for anything else. And so what I try to do, and this is my secret, uh, yeah, I'm a member of two local chamber of commerce. I belong to a networking group. I have an office I can actually go to. This is my home office filled with all military memorabilia in here. But I have an office I can go to when I have an appointment and sit down with someone. So what you do is you try to tie everything in so everything kind of interacts with everything. It sounds really weird to say it that way, but if I know I'm going to go and be in a American Legion meeting, I'm also going to be asked if my wife would like to go with me. You try to make it where you can have 10 different things kind of help each other. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but if you're trying to go in all different directions, like I used to go out and try to do public events where you set up a table and put your tablecloth on it. Didn't work for me. Does not work for me. If my wife is going to go to the grocery store, I go, hey, I want to go with you. And I have a bag on my backpack. Okay, don't laugh. It's ducks, plastic ducks, with a business
Okay.
card that says you've been ducked. And I'll walk up to somebody. Quick story. I know we don't have much time, but she is very upset. She was at Lowe's and she was very mad because they had put a package on a shelf with her name, her phone number, and her address. And she was upset that her personal information was showing. And they took the bow and she did her complaint to the manager. And I looked at her and I go, ma'am, you look like you need to be ducked. She goes, what? And I gave her the little plastic duck. She smiled, she laughed, found out she was a veteran. We started talking. I didn't have the heart to tell her that I knew her name and her phone number, but we actually became friends. And we have an appointment scheduled because she's interested in becoming an agent. And I said, well, come on over, let's talk.
That's cool. I like how you're able to use that to get people out of their negative mindset and help them open up and be receptive to talking to you. Um, it sounds like work-life balance for you is just making life a part of your work And so,
And it's always been that way, even in the
so
military. Military is like that. It's just you're in 100%.
yeah, and what I found is that if you're in a job that you hate, doing things that you hate all day long, when you come home, you're mentally and physically exhausted and you have nothing else to give. But when you're doing something that you love, and it sounds like you love what you're doing, you get recharged by working with these veterans, which gives you more energy and more focus. So when you are at home, when you're going to the grocery store, you're able to actually be present and be happy and have mental and physical energy to give to your family and to yourself as well. And I think that you really have found the true balance between work-life balance. Because it's not about the number of hours that you spend working or the number of hours that you spend at home. It's the quality of the time that you're doing either. When you're at work, work. When you're at home, be at home. And then if you can get those two to coincide together and mesh together and meld, that's even taking it to a step beyond that formula.
And I found out that you can actually turn your cell phone off. Did you know that?
Wait, how do you do that? I don't think.
I found this little button on there, and you can actually and I started taking it out of the room during dinner and put it in my office and put on silent, and at least for a couple of hours. And I had people go, "I called you." I go, "Yeah, I sure did. I'll get back with you tomorrow."
I love it. I struggled with that for a while with the cell phone. You know, being an entrepreneur, you're always on the phone doing what you need to do to make business happen. And my wife got upset with me, so I ended up putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. So every day at 5 o'clock, my phone goes to Do Not Disturb, and it stays until 8 o'clock when my kids are in bed. And
Yep.
so I have dedicated family time. Um, and so I can choose to go pick up my phone and go do something, but I don't have the world bombarding me with they need me because that's not their time. It's family
No,
time.
it'll wear you out. It will just wear
It
you out.
definitely will. Well, Doug, it sounds like things are going pretty well for you in your business. You're on the right trajectory. You have a good thing going for you. You have the right mindset, and your heart's definitely in the right place with this business. A lot of people are looking towards the future. They're looking for uh, opportunities to create passive income to enhance or even replace their active income. What are your thoughts about passive income?
Well, and that's really what got my attention. I was told very late in life, if you want to be successful, not worrying about things, have seven streams of income. Now, those could be anywhere from I'm lucky that I got a military retirement, I got a civil service retirement, Social Security. I mean, I'm old, so I get Social Security and all the different things. But a lot of times I tell folks, yeah, if you're interested in the insurance business, it has residual income. I also have another business that I do that again kind of coincides. It's a legal business that basically does legal insurance. I don't mix the two at the same time, but I will ask the question, have you got your estate planning done? Have you done your will? Have you done your living will? If not, get with me. I'd love to help you. So those two tie in together, and I can do all that off my phone. It's not anything I have to really work at hard. And again, if you can find something you enjoy that's not work and it helps somebody, and it's if you got a business that doesn't help somebody, you're in the wrong business. So, you look at AI and all the different things happening. I don't know when at what point it will take over certain these things, but people still like to be able to talk to a person. And then those tools, I'm learning those as a senior citizen, and I'm getting pretty good at it of using AI to be able to answer questions. And I'll be talking to a client, and I'm like, I'm in their chat GPT. I mean, all right, boom, I got the answer. I know exactly what to say. And I bounce that off of other things. So it's learning for me. I probably really am helping them with their database with my questions.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Never stop growing and never stop learning. I'm on day 459 of Japanese, learning Japanese. So always be learning something new.
Nice. I really liked what you were saying about the seven sources of income, right? Most people think, oh, there's no way I can have seven jobs. Well, you're right. If you had seven jobs, you would be pulled in so many different directions that you wouldn't be able to keep up with any of them. But there are things that you can do that will set you up for success that can feed you, and it's really using other people, right? You just have to go through and organize the systems to get them in place. Um, so I think that there's a lot of opportunities with passive incomes. I think it looks different for everybody. I think you
Mhm.
have to look at what do you want to put into those passive incomes and what do you want to get out of those passive incomes. But I think everybody should have some form of passive income because when you have a truly passive income, if you get sick and you can't go to work, that passive income is still paying you. If you get dementia, right? That passive income is still there to help support your family and your bills that you have. And so having those streams of passive income is very important, especially in your mid to later stages of life.
Well, you mentioned that, and I did not even think about this until I got this letter from the U.S. government saying, "Well, Doug, you own Medicare Basic Training." I went, "Oh, wow." I said, what if I build this up really big? What if I build this so big that somebody comes in from a bigger company and goes, you know what, we'd like to buy that. Uh, and now I've actually started doing the research is how would I sell this and keep a percentage so my grandkids would always have income coming in from this business and I always make my grandchildren call me grandfather because that's my dream is that we're going to be at a restaurant and I want them to go, oh, grandfather, but that's just my silly dream. But no one remembers their grandparents or your great grandparents. And I'll tell you why, because they didn't leave you anything. But if you have a grandparent that left you millions of dollars, yeah, you're going to remember Grandpa Bynum.
Nice. I like that. Leaving a legacy. Leaving a legacy.
That's exactly
Uh,
it. You see.
well, Doug, as we are wrapping this up, um, what are some exciting plans or initiatives that you have in the works for the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, right now, as we build this up, and I tell everybody, as I'm building more clientele, I'm trying to work to the point where I can't handle it, and that's the big thing. So I'm actually working with a couple of other agents to see if I can bring them on to help me. I'm hoping this podcast will go out there across state lines in all 50 states, and they go, "Hey, I need to call Doug and ask. Let me talk to him and see. Maybe I've got a part on this team." Uh, and that's the main thing. I said, really, if I had 50 great agents that were working with me, not for me, but working with me, and we're helping veterans very easily. If we did 40 clients in every state, would be like 2,000. This that you're talking about a $500,000 of new, income in the next couple of years. So, and then I made a promise that I'm going to use my this income for good. I have some nonprofits that I support. I got one I'm going to be on the board of directors for. And so taking that money and doing something good and trying to figure out how do we get people from the homeless state to being a homeowner? How do we get people that have no job to getting a job? In other words, the more you help society take care of themselves, the less problems we're going to have. And I'm trying to tie all this in with the love of God and having, being out witnessing and keeping this thing. We're doing it for the right reasons. That's really it. Doing it for the right reasons.
That's fantastic, Doug. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, get to know you,
Uh-huh.
how can they find you?
Well, it's really easy. MedicareBasicTraining.com. You can just go to www, and it's right there. And if you don't see my picture I have a military Korean defense hat on, and I have a military vehicle with an airplane behind me. That's the easiest one because you can call me, you can text me, you can email me, you can send a request in. That way, or my phone number's on there too. Uh, I leave my phone number. I will listen to every message or I'll answer it, no matter how crazy it is. 405 5439. And yes, it's my phone number. And I may at some point have to get rid of that phone number and make it a 1-800 number. But I really do want those phone calls to come in to ask questions, but text me. Uh, Facebook, Lowell Doug Bynum. You'll see me on Facebook. I've got a business page too that'll take you into my other businesses and reach out to any of them. And if I don't answer, it's because I missed it. So don't give up. Give me a call, give me a text, give me an email, and email is even easier. ldbynum@medicarebasictraining.com.
I love it. It sounds like you have all of your bases covered as far as people can text you, they can call you, they can Facebook you, they can go to your website, any number of ways to get to you. Thank you for sharing that. Doug, I think you're going to do fantastic with this Medicare business. Your heart is in the right place. You are definitely on the road to success with this business. Well, I'd like to thank you for your time, for sharing your insights, your tips, and some successes that you've had in your life. And we're going to wrap this up, guys. This has been a fun interview here with Doug Bynum, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning into Success in Motion. Want to share your story? Visit successinmotionpodcast.com/guest to apply and be featured on the show.